Welcome to the Art of Likeability, where you learn the secrets to becoming more likable in all areas of your life. Increasing your likability improves your relationships, and improved relationships increases your success in all areas of your life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, everybody? Arel Moody here, host of The Art of Likeability, where we teach you how to build your likability skills, and you can increase your happiness through likability and your relationships and your success and all of this cool stuff. And if you don't want more happiness and success, you are listening to the wrong podcast. I'm excited to talk about an idea that's very near and dear to my heart. It's something that I think a lot of people confuse, and I really look forward to covering this with you. So I'll give you an example. There's a very popular viral thing happening right now called the Ice Bucket Challenge, right? So if you haven't heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge, either you have been under a rock because you have not been under an ice bucket, clearly. Basically, it's awareness from ALS, which is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, where people are being nominated and challenging people to pour a bucket of ice water on their head. They pour the bucket on their head in the sake of raising awareness for ALS. And also, obviously, you can donate money. A lot of people have. I've read a statistic that said that in a 3-week period last year, they raised about, I think, $1.8 million. And this year, they've raised over $15 million in that same period. And that $15 million has also come from over 300,000 new donors. So in terms of awareness and in terms of profitability for the foundation, it's totally been working really well. Now, here's what's interesting. As this is getting more and more successful, people are becoming more and more critical of it. They're saying things like, oh, well, don't pour water on people's heads. That's not really doing anything to help people with ALS. You should do something like volunteer in the hospital with them, or pouring a bucket of water on your head doesn't solve any problems. It's just people are doing it because it's the cool thing to do, or so on and so forth. There's various different things. And those are all true. Now, here's what's also interesting. It's also true that it's raising awareness and raising money. But wait, how could they both be true? Aren't they both on different sides of the spectrum? Don't they mean different things? Like, one is saying that it's bad and one is saying that it's good. Which one is it? Well, it's which whenever you choose to focus on. There's something called the law of duality. And the law of duality basically states that at the exact same time, at the exact same moment, two contradicting things can coexist. This is the definition I give it. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that you can look at something and it could be a horrible thing, and you can also look at something and it can be a good thing. That all depends on you. That all depends on what you choose to pull from it. Now, you can easily say something like, well, this challenge is people don't even know what ALS is, and they're just putting buckets of water on their head. And I'm sure that's true for a bunch of people. But I guarantee you, if someone says now, ALS, or if God forbid, someone says they have ALS, at least people can say, oh, that's like that ice bucket challenge. By the way, if you don't know why it's an ice bucket challenge, the reason why they're doing ice buckets is because that cold sensation that causes you to kind of freeze up and move is what folks from ALS actually, it's the same central nervous system situation from what I understand, that they deal with. So it's not only raising awareness, but it's kind of giving you an idea of what it's like to be in them, just for a moment, of course. Now, if you choose to see it as a bad thing, like this is just silly, there's a lot of people who don't care about it, you're right. But people now know about it. If you talk about ALS, I would say even 6 months ago, nobody probably would know exactly what you're talking about. But now I guarantee you, everyone knows ALS at least is some form of a disease that needs to be cured. So is it a bad thing? Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of people doing it bad, but it's also good. It's coexisting at the same time. This happens in so many different areas of your life. So for example, something bad happens to you. You don't like it. Someone was mean to you, and it caused all these bad things to happen. You could look at that situation for what it is. It's something bad. Or you can go deeper and search for a positive meaning. And you'll find that positive meaning every single time you search for it, because it's always there. One of our listeners actually reached out to me, is a guy named Scott Bauer, And he told me about this book. And in the book, they said this phrase is called active search for meaning. And I really liked that phrase. So thank you, Scott, for letting me know about that phrase. Active search for meaning. I think no matter what you do, you need to consistently, actively search for a positive, deep meaning from it. And you'll find it. So let's say you get fired from a job. Oh my gosh, it's a horrible experience. You know, how are you going to pay your bills? How could they do this? Yes, it's a bad experience. No one wants to get fired. But maybe you needed to get an external motivator to help you go after that career you always wanted. Or maybe you needed an external motivator to help snap you into reality because maybe you're doing things in an unpleasant or unproductive way. And you need to take a good hard look at yourself. I tend to notice most people love to point the blame and point the finger at someone else. If something goes wrong, they point the finger at someone else. I've taken on a philosophy and I invite you to take on the same. Now, a lot of people say, well, it is what you're about to say, bro. That's not fair. But it just works for me and it consistently produces high results. I take responsibility for everything that happens in my life. Every single thing, even things that seem to be outside of my control. I'm going to the airport, there's a car accident in front of me, and the road gets shut down, and I miss my plane because of the car accident. Now, someone could say, yo, that's not your fault. You missed the plane. There was the car accident. You trying to say the car accident was your fault? No, what I'm trying to say is I should have left earlier. I should have made more than enough time for something bad to go happen. If something bad were to happen, that I could plan around it. So therefore, I need to take responsibility for that. Constantly taking responsibility for yourself is so important. If you start saying, yo, that makes sense, take responsibility for yourself. The next time something doesn't go your way, the next time something unfavorable happens, I want you to take responsibility for it. If it's a team effort and you did everything you were supposed to do, but your team members didn't, take responsibility for it. It's your fault. You should have been more motivating to your teammates. The reason why this strategy is so important, the reason why it applies to likability, is that people genuinely like to be around someone who has this deep leadership from their core, someone who can see the brighter side of things, someone who can always search for a deeper, more positive meaning. By being that type of person, by being in a situation where something bad happens and you can focus on what's good, or focus on here's the lesson that we can gain from it, or here's the lesson I can gain from it, you actually start becoming a more likable person at your core. This is a deep, deep form of likability. This isn't anything that is like fly by night. I mean, it's when you meet someone and they don't even say a word and they just got this amazing power that emanates from them. It's a type of person that takes this immense idea towards looking for this active search for meaning, this positive things in everything that happens, as well as full responsibility for everything that's happened. When you start doing that, your life changes. And I mean, gosh, it's so incredible. And it's hard for people to say, well, what if something completely happens outside of my will? Take responsibility and say, what can I learn from it? This happened. I put myself in this position. What can I gain from it? I really do believe that you can look at life by saying that it's just a random act of activities and bad things happen and it just happens and that's what it is. I don't agree with that. I believe there's a lesson that can be learned from everything. I've gotten things like, let's say you get a speeding ticket and you're like, man, I didn't want this speeding ticket. Man, this is going to cost me so much money. It's going to cost my license. I wish I could have learned the lesson some other way. And maybe you could have, but I don't think you would have. If you would have, you wouldn't have been speeding. So you learn eventually that you need to do the speed limit because the pain that you experienced was so great. That's the tuition that you have to pay. I like this idea that I heard that whenever something bad happens to you, the lesson that you gain from it is the tuition that you had to pay to learn that lesson. If you're going to college, you would drop money for your tuition. Well, if something happens to you, like a speeding ticket or, some other business challenge happens and you make a large financial mistake, don't look at it as a bad experience. Look at it as that's the tuition you had to pay to learn this lesson. And that's all it is. And the more you take responsibility and the more you choose to look at the positive side and search for meaning within things, the more beautiful things things start happening to you, the less stressed you become. I promise you, if you're struggling with a lot of stress right now, if you're fighting with constantly feeling stressed out, the odds are when it comes to the law of duality, you're finding the negative things, the bad things that are in your life. If you choose to start saying, okay, let me apply this strategy and see what are the good things, all of a sudden your mind starts doing it by default. All of a sudden, it's not an active struggle, which it will be in the beginning. You just start saying, all right, well, here's what I learned from it. Of course, you're human and you're going to go through your emotions, and emotions aren't bad in any way. They all exist for a reason. You'll start saying, wow, this was bad. I'm upset about it. But here's what I learned from it. Here's what I took from it. Man, now I know this, and I didn't know this before. And I thought I knew it before, but clearly I didn't. So now I'm really learning it. And yeah, it's painful and it hurts, and I'm going to go through all the emotions and cycle through it. But now I'm better because of it. And when you start doing that, you become a lot less stressed. When things don't go your way, when challenges happen, you don't get as frustrated because you're looking for the good. Most people you meet, they heat seek for what's wrong. They just cannot wait to find the worst thing. And you know what happens is they start becoming nitpickers. Have you ever been around a nitpicker? Someone who like nitpicks at all the little things, like why are you chewing with your mouth open, or why is your elbow like that, or why are you sitting like that? Like they start now looking for all of these small things to drive you crazy with. When you start looking for all the beautiful things, all the positive things, you start noticing, wow, this sunrise never looks so beautiful, but those clouds are fantastic. You start nitpicking at beautiful things, and people will notice that, and you'll have this depth of likability that comes from within, that emanates from within, that is so powerful. And you'll be happier, and you'll be lighter on your feet, and you'll have a bigger smile on your face, and people like that. So I want you to really, really, really start saying, yes, there's 1,000 things you can complain about. Yes, there's 1,000 things you can, and they're all true and they're all valid. But there's also 1,000 beautiful things from those exact same situations that created 1,000 bad things. Start becoming a heat-seeking missile for what's good. Start doing that active search for meaning so that you can start realizing all the beauty that's in your life, and then you can start radiating this pure awesomeness. And you can start truly being a person that's happier and less stressed. And I can promise you, no matter what you're going through, there's someone out there who can go through the exact same thing as you and take amazing, beautiful lessons from it. And you can take amazing, beautiful lessons from it. And someone can go through the same things you're going through right now and feel like you have the worst life. And they'll be right, because that's what they're looking for. Start deciding that the next time something does not go your way, or is annoying or frustrating, let the emotion happen, feel the emotion, and then immediately ask yourself, what can I gain from this? What could I have done differently? And please don't say something like, well, I guess I just shouldn't trust stupid people. I guess I got to learn my lesson. I'm surrounded by a bunch of idiots, and I just got to learn not to trust these idiots. I don't know if you sound like that. I don't know I'm talking like that, but you get the point. If you say something like that, you're missing the boat on this strategy. So make sure you're looking for the best. Pull that best out, and then start, if people start having a challenge, help, empathize, do the empathetic response, which, if you don't know what that is, we'll cover it on a later session, but do the empathetic response, show that person you care, and then help them find that nugget, that wisdom. And then I think most importantly, above all, instead of helping others do that within yourself. And hopefully this does make sense to you. And hopefully at its core, it does make sense. The only way you know if it really makes sense to you is if you apply it. If you consistently search for ways to prove that this is true, not find what's wrong in a situation, not what someone didn't do right, but find what you can learn from it and what did go well. And I promise you, it'll be absolutely amazing. So let me know what you think. Please try this strategy out. Go out and start consistently heat seeking for what's positive and what's good and what you can learn, and start just radiating this core of awesomeness from you that will just totally infect everyone wherever you go with good stuff, not that bad stuff, the good stuff. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook. I'm the only Orel Moody that exists in the world, people. If you can't find me, you are really not looking. All right, you can put my name into Google. It's real easy to find me. All these articles pop up. So come on now, hit a brother up. I'm getting some amazing messages from you and from the listeners, and I love it. Hit me up. I love this stuff, boy. Come on now. Send me an email or something. Tweet a brother, retweet a brother. Come on. If I post something on LinkedIn, like it. All right, hit me up. Seriously, though. I'd love to hear from you. You can send an email, info@artoflikability.com. If you need me to spell my name, it's AREL, M as in Mary, OO, D as in David, IE. Definitely go ahead. And if you've been thinking about following me and you haven't followed me yet, just do it. Stop wasting time. I put out good stuff. You should see that stuff I put out. That's fantastic. I think so, at least. I'm searching for the good. See what I just did right there? Anyway, hit me up. If you like the podcast, go ahead and leave a rating. 5-star ratings help us get the word out to other cool people about the cool stuff we cover here. Leave a comment. I love when people actually leave comment reviews. I read every single one of them. So if you're on various different podcasts, let me know what you think. I read them all and I love them. And it means the world to me to get to hear from you. So seriously, I really encourage you to reach out to me. I can't wait to hear from you. So hopefully this helps you build your likability. That likability helps you build better relationships and have more success and more happiness. And guess what? If you don't want more success and more happiness, you are listening to the wrong podcast. Sending you a big old high five. You are awesome.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Likability. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast for more awesome info on how you can improve your likability and improve your life. Until next time, remember, you are